This is day 1540 since Richard was premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss. Let me see if everything is working and you can hear me. Okay, it looks like I'm on. Testing everything. Okay, it looks like I'm on. Okay. So, let's see. I want to make sure I'm plugged in here. I'm ready to go. So 1,540 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss. It's confirmed. It's a code red. That means an internal order to kill him, to murder him in cold blood after betraying him as a whistleblower and retaliating against him continuously and severely. And they couldn't even do that. Um, they couldn't stop him. They could not discredit him because that's the intention of retaliation, is to frighten, scare, stop, and to discredit a whistleblower. Um, you cannot be a whistleblower and not be scrutinized. Uh, of course, if you are going to report things, they're going to scrutinize why you're reporting. And that's why the internal criminals on Fort Bliss, um, of course, Dallas Hart is the prime suspect in the murder of Richard, and Dallas Hart was Richard's platoon leader under Major General Clem Coward, and also, of course, Lieutenant Colonel Roddick, the Michael Roddick. And there's so many others, right? And they're culpable. They are absolutely in big trouble, and we have been um, coming on every day saying we are getting accountability. And people are just they're just, they just can't believe it because the accountability just doesn't happen very often, right? It just doesn't happen very often because it takes so much time, so much energy to uncover, um, the circumstances of the crime. And then you have to uh, identify it and document it and file, and then you have to control your emotions. I think that if, God was with us, we have done it. We have absolutely come to the wave of accountability. It was absolutely a victory of all of our work to get the declaration, the official declaration of death for our son, which gave us, of course, made us a Gold Star family, which gave us, a legal status that really is helping to get accountability. And we're different in the fact that a lot of most families that become Gold Star families right away, um, shortly after the crime, the death of their service member. And that was not our case. We, really had to work for it. We had to, this was after years of investigations, um, that we finally received the declaration of death. They came to our door in their full dress blues uniforms to present us with the um, the declaration, and it was unwelcomed because we knew with the Board of Inquiry, the second, the who knows how many Board of Inquiries, but we should have been part of that Board of Inquiry. They um, violated our rights in so many ways, but they did allow us to offer all the evidence, and we had overwhelming evidence. We know what we gave them, and it was only partial of our overwhelming evidence, but it was enough that they absolutely had to declare him dead. Now, I don't think it was because of our evidence that they declared our son dead. I think that they have his remains. I think they know exactly who murdered him. I think that they know why they murdered him. I think they're all absolutely aware that this is a code red, an internal order to murder Richard to silence a whistleblower for connecting the dots between Fort Bliss and the criminal trafficking going on there at the border, and also connecting the dots between Fort Bliss and the Walmart mass shooting. I think they're all aware of that. There is enough people in the, you know, given their the power is in enough people with the wrong hands, right? That we are absolutely sure, especially with this whole Howell debacle, what we have found out about Todd Howell and his involvement in the group, criminal group that has impersonated us, harassed us, obstructed justice, even threatened us. Um, you know, can you believe it that Quantico, CID Quantico, would be involved in a criminal group like that? But it's a long history. There's a long history and conflicts of interest. And so we believe that they have Richard's remains, and they we had just too much. We knew too much of what they know, and so they absolutely had to declare Richard dead at the Board of Inquiry. And they came to our door at 8 o'clock in the morning when we had told them that we've known that Richard is dead. We knew that he was murdered. We knew that he was whistleblowing. We have hours after hours of live streams, and also all the letters, all the criminal complaints, all the inquiries, all the irregularities, everything to prove that we knew. And so it wasn't like they had to rush over to our house to tell us before it went on the news or something, right? We said, please do not come until we receive the paperwork, that we look over it, and then you can come. Not at 8 o'clock in the morning, when they know that I do very late night live streams, especially uh, the morning time, daytime. You also have to have time to live, right? Um, and we've been doing this day in and day out, hours and hours every day, and they couldn't even honor our wishes. Um, at least, announce that they were coming, what time they were coming, but they didn't even do that. They just showed up. And it was such an act of disrespect, and such pain from our military again. Again, through this whole thing, the betrayal, the absolute treason. And it is treason, y'all. And it deserves the death penalty, in my estimation now. I want the death penalty to be on the table, um, uh, as this accountability rolls through. And so we are in the wave of accountability. And yesterday we received a letter, and I put that letter out because it belongs to the people of El Paso. It really does, because it um, not only has affected our family, of course, our son, but also thousands of other cases in El Paso. And this letter is very, very important. It's by Christina Sanchez. We've been rereading it over and over today to absorb it. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of that letter that we posted yesterday. And you can go and look at it for reference while I'm discussing this. Um, you know, that would be helpful. But Christina Sanchez, I'm going to give you a little background, is the district attorney, right? The county attorney. And she took the place of Joanne Bernal. Joanne Bernal, county attorney, working with, of course, Veronica Escobar, and was there and warned over and over again about the appointment, about the approval of Mario Raskin Ortiz um, uh, being placed as the chief medical examiner for the county of El Paso. Um, very, very high paying job because it's a judicial office. And so, preferably, it is, and every state is different, but preferably, in Texas, you have to be a citizen. And it's really good to have both a law degree and a medical degree to do this because you are in a judicial office position and you, for the court cases, for these capital crime court cases, as I understand them, he can testify to the cause and manner of death, which is really, really huge. It really is huge because, he gets to determine if it's a suicide or if it's a homicide or if it's an accident, right? Um, the cause of death. And so that position is, if you're a criminal and you want to murder your opponents, or you want to have the chief medical examiner in your pocket so that you can get away with the retaliation. And we believe that he handled Richard's remains. We believe other people have handled Richard's remains, of course. And so that was, something that we had to look into. And we learned that he is illegal and he's not even supposed to be in that position. He's fake. He's fake. And so Joanne Bernal, who has been confronted with this over and over again over the years since 2014, that he's a fake, um, was confronted in this case. And we did our homework, and the next thing we knew after we notified her, she decided not to finish up her term, not not to even finish up her term, but to leave, to hit the road. She hit the road. She took off. She put in her resignation, and she took off. And Christina Sanchez took her place as county attorney. And so the next thing we looked into was, of course, the court that Richard was brought before unlawfully. And it was very, very clear that you had this, um, canine cop in a parking lot at midnight making a traffic stop who was a family member of um, Belen Rocha. And that we know that Belen Rocha was there. We know about the calls. We know about, the setup. It was a setup. And, what better way to discredit a whistleblower than to try to give them a criminal record. And what is the easiest way to do that is to set them up for like a DUI or something like that. And so they attempted to do that, but they're just so brazen that they've gotten too big for their britches. And when Richard was unlawfully brought before the MAG court, the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court, and I got the Judge Granberg, who is impersonating. He's not even a judge. He is a fake uh, individual that is impersonating a judge because he's not elected. And all those, according to the Texas Constitution, all judges on the criminal law magistrate court must be elected because since 2015, because they have countywide jurisdiction. And that's a very powerful position there, just like the chief medical examiner. And so, we found this all out, that of course they have these appointed individuals that have no loyalty to the people of El Paso. Seemingly they have no loyalty because they absolutely know that they need to be elected. They're not, they're trained in the law, right? And so they know. And so if Team Farm Richard Halliday can find this out, then they should have known. But the election rights of the people of El Paso have been violated, and so many cases. The cases need to be all reviewed that went before this court. And so when you find out something like this, you can't sit on it. You can't keep it a secret. It's such a violation to even do that. And it's so big that you have to write and file what you know. And so we did. And we filed it. And one of the people that we filed it with to let them know that there needed to be an investigation was Christina Sanchez. She's the county attorney. And so she wrote back this letter, and it is a wowzer, right? It's a wowzer. It's a wowzer because number one, she calls it a criminal complaint. That is huge. The regarding on it is huge. She didn't change the regarding. She also had to sign it herself, which is also huge. And she also had to refer it because this issue with the entire panel of judges being illegal and not being elected when they are required by the Texas Constitution to be elected, and the hundreds, if not thousands of cases that have gone before that are now, gone before individuals that had no authority to put on the robe, no authority to sit on the bench, no authority to take the gavel in their hand, no authority for the arraignments, including Patrick Crucius's arraignment. Patrick Crucius was processed through that court, and Richard was unlawfully jailed through that court, and how many other individuals, and we know that Richard was unlawfully jailed because the judge was absolutely, where is the judge? When you have a soldier that pleads innocent, right? He never pled guilty. He always maintained his innocence. And and it's a canine cop in a well-lit parking lot at midnight making a traffic stop with no probable cause. Where is the judge in that? And so that is for us a huge suspicion that this fake judge um, was in on it, right? Was in on the setup of Richard. And so, all of this, how many other individuals have been set up? These individuals have no loyalty to the people of El Paso because they weren't elected. Their loyalty is to who maintains their appointment. But the appointment itself is illegal. And so, what Cristina Sanchez is saying in this letter, now after reviewing it over and over, um, she is saying, I'm powerless. I'm powerless. This is so big. This is so big that hey, AG Ken Paxton, you're up. This is your ball. You're up for bat. You have to address this. You have to take this fastball, and it is so fast because it's so big, and they've messed with El Paso, and that also corroborates the internal um, higher officers being involved in the criminal trafficking and the Walmart mass shooting. Those allegations are out there that's what Richard was connecting the dots to. And, for this kind of fakeness, a fake DA, remember, and I'll talk about Bill Hicks right now too, because he's trying to pitch a fastball. He's trying to, manipulate. Well, I shouldn't say he's trying to pitch a fastball. He's trying to juggle. He's trying to juggle. He wants to. He likes the money. He likes the money from the taxpayers, and he's the bottom of the barrel. Okay, he can't make it on his own, and he's proven that because he was in a lawsuit for not paying his rent. He didn't pay his taxes for multiple years. He had a state bar complaints. He, it, it goes on and on, the dirty laundry. But he is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to choices. And now he is for any kind of appointment. He should never have been appointed by Governor Abbott for the position of district attorney. And, and I understand that Bill Hicks might have some dirt on Governor Abbott, politics is a dirty profession. And, so because it's like, how in the world would Governor Abbott choose the bottom of the barrel, someone that was scheming, that was spying and scheming to remove and replace a duly elected someone that could be elected. He can't be elected, right? But that Yvonne Rosales was duly elected, and they're scheming to remove and replace her. He also, who he appoints to lead his office, is very, very concerning, a criminal. So this is, and what connections does that criminal have, right? It's very concerning, very concerning. And so Bob Moore is breaking news. He is looking to Governor Abbott to appoint him again because his reelection bid looks absolutely like a failure. It is a failure, and he hasn't even been campaigning really much, right? And I think that the word is out from Team Fine Richard Halliday that not only do we think that he's a criminal and a usurper, but that he's absolutely unfit to be appointed to any office. And now he wants Abbott's help again. Hey, let me have that taxpayers' money. I like that money. I don't have to work for it. And he didn't have to work for it, right? He told Loretta Lynn Hewitt not to work for it, that the Walmart mass shooting case was only for politics and not to move it forward. So, he got paid big money to not move a case forward, which is, and of course, what he did in our son's case also, um, our son's investigation, uh, the murder investigation of a Fort Bliss whistleblower soldier, right? Wow. So, he is absolutely unfit to hold any office, to be appointed for any office in the criminal judicial system. And what he needs is to be arrested. He needs his hands to be in handcuffs. And so all I did was put out a meme that said he's the bottom of the barrel, scrape, 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 bottom of the barrel. Um, and why? When, you need to choose from the best of the best, right? The top of the barrel. And there's plenty of those. But something is going on, and he wants Governor Abbott to appoint him to the district court. So, yeah, because he could never be uh, elected. I don't think he could ever be elected. So that is breaking news. Now, we've been working very hard on some things in the background, and I thought I could bring them out today, but I'm going to wait until tomorrow because thank you, Anicia, for coming on. The connection with the whistleblower, um, just letting everyone know how that, uh, just putting all that together for everyone to understand, um, because there were some really big letters that we had to write again today, and out to the media, right? Also out to the media because of this letter from Christina Sanchez. We wanted people to know, and I'm going to have to describe it over and over again, the letter. And I'll tell you, it's really hard because, we've never been connected to the judicial system or the law enforcement system. We've been more in the medical area, in the education area, not in the law enforcement area. We really had nothing to do with it. So this has been a huge learning curve for us. And if it has been for us, I know that there's a lot of people that get letters like this and don't know how to interpret them. Just think, oh, she's just kicking the can. But no, she is really being humble. Christine Sanchez is, and saying, this is really too big for me. I'm not saying she's good. Um, uh, you know, I'm just saying that she is being humble when it comes to the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court, a panel of impersonating individuals as judges and sitting on benches without any authority, and interfering with people's lives, right? And they control investigations, which is huge and also has a lot to do with Richard's case. So I think that it's really important for people to understand this letter and how big this letter is and what a piece of gold this letter is, that it's going to Attorney General Paxton, and now it's in his hands. And we'll see. We'll see. Now he is liable, right? He is liable for what's going on, along with these impersonating judges, because they shouldn't even show up for work, right? They have been absolutely acting illegally since 2015. So once you understand it, it is, well, you do what Sanchez did, what Christina Sanchez did, and said, "Hey, AG Paxton, you're on it. You got to be on this, right?" So, and that should, really help with the accountability, just like us acquiring FitFam El Paso. You know, uh, none of that is forgotten. All of that is for huge reasons. And in that case, it's for the intelligence community there in El Paso. So all of this is aiding the wave. It's part of the wave of accountability. And because accountability, you can't just expect it. That's what we've learned. You can't expect those that have been compromised and also corrupted, tainted, to give you accountability. You absolutely have to drive it. And our system is what you're counting on. You have to drive that system to get the accountability. And the next steps are, really will have a lot to do with the whistleblowers. Richard, of course, and the whistleblower in our son's case. That's the move forward, with many other things going on behind the scenes. And, you know, many other agencies involved. I believe that in Richard's case, it's more than 15 plus agencies now, which makes it probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest case in the history of the United States. I don't know of any other case that has so many agencies involved. And when you're talking about our military, Fort Bliss, it's not like a little military installation. This is Fort Bliss. Fort Bliss that's sitting on ancient land that is so much history in the missile and rockets and in the training, and there's just so much going on at Fort Bliss, and being right there at the border with Mexico. It's not a little installation, it's not insignificant, it's huge. And to have Fort Bliss involved in the large criminal trafficking network that has harmed so many, and also be connected to the Walmart mass shooting case, and then to silence those that speak out, and even order a code murder of a whistleblower soldier, young, very young. He had just turned 21, who was aspiring to be a criminal investigator. They leave that out. He was, I know, as his mother, 100%. And even Dirty Agent Marlon Soto, because he had already inquired about it, because he was a distinguished undergraduate. He had clept out of college math at 15. He clept out of 6 credit hours at the age of 15 for the college math, and 6 more credit hours for German. He was aspiring to be a criminal investigator. He went into the military with his all, aspiring not to get away from anything, but to become something. And so that's why he was a distinguished honor graduate for basic training and for advanced individual training. How many young men at the age of 18 write their grandparents, their OMI and their OPI, from basic training, so excited, describing how excited he was to be able to learn how to be a soldier, employ being a soldier, be the best soldier, and then go to Fort Bliss wanting to be a criminal investigator and see Fort Bliss, the home of the Emergency Intake Center. Now, I know that started in 2021, but they had all kinds of camps set out for a long time. And so let's call it the home of criminal trafficking. And to be under a platoon leader named Dallas Hart, whose family is so well connected and part of the criminal network there. This, there's no coincidences. And Clem Coward also part of the criminal network. So, and to have that criminal network be so entrenched in the positions of law enforcement and the law enforcement community, and to be able to feel emboldened that they could carry out something like a Walmart mass shooting and the code red murder of a soldier, a whistleblower soldier, and carry out the extreme retaliation. They felt like they could get away with that. But we're in the wave of accountability. Yes, it took us 4 years to understand what's going on, but we're here now. And when you get a letter from Cristina Sanchez, who is not looking to help us, but is helping us, we have institutional. When you have the military that was never looking to support us, put their dress blues on to give us a declaration of death for our son, who they never wanted us to think that he was dead. For the public to know that he was dead, and to give us those receipts, because the receipts confirm that Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss. So, it has to be driven. And to find out, about the Howell family, Todd Howell, the cold case, the violent crime and cold case unit in Quantico, and to understand his betrayal, to understand his conflicts of interest, and why this case didn't immediately move forward, and to understand the betrayal, the lies to our faces by the generals, and to see Bill Hicks with Bob Moore and Justin Underwood panic so much that they would scheme to remove and replace. Really, they were scheming on Facebook chats, public chats, to remove Yvonne Rosales and replace her, because they needed to stop, not move forward in the Walmart mass shooting, because the Walmart mass shooting is connected to Richard. They are the same case. because it connects to Fort Bliss. Yeah, it's we can't forget about Nadal Baim. We can't forget it. He's so big in this, so big with Bradford Bugado and their conflicts of interest and this link with Hawaii. And now Bill Hicks is like, "Oh, Greg Abbott, I want to be district. I want to be appointed to the district court." I don't think we should tell. Um, I don't think we should allow this kind of appointment of the bottom of the barrel. I think that if Governor Abbott appoints the bottom of the barrel, the likes of Bill Hicks, for the people of El Paso, that tells you what he thinks about El Paso, right? That tells you what he thinks. If he's going to give El Pasoans the bottom of the barrel again, that tells you what he thinks about El Paso. And, El Paso deserves the best. Deserves the best. And why am I saying that? I'm not just saying, oh, I'm not campaigning for anything. I'm not saying anything to endear myself to El Paso. I was born at White Sands Missile Range. I went to school in El Paso. I'm saying it because El Paso is my home. It's where I was born. It is a major city, a an ancient city. It is right there on the border. That is so important for relations and the trade of the United States, for the national security of the United States. I mean, it is such an important city and a beautiful city. And it has that beautiful coming together of people. It's so important to have that, to be uh, um, the judicial system to work properly, to have the least amount of crime, so that the whole relationship with Mexico, with the United States, with Texas, is just the best it can be. But when you have people, mayors getting beheaded, when you have children, 500,000 children unaccompanied come through, that's a minimum number, but they're missing and mostly dead, and you have all this crime, that's not good for relations. That's not good for joy, right? Where is Veronica Escobar? Colluding, plotting, whatever, scheming. That's the only thing she could be doing right now. Scheming. Because you have a fake medical examiner, a fake DA, a usurper DA, fake individuals posing as judges on a very powerful court. You have charges on Richard that were fake. Thank God that that was all exposed. But at the same time, you have uh, all the talk on the media fake. Why aren't they reporting on all of this? Why aren't they reporting on all of this? The one thing that's not fake is the code red murder of our son, Richard. And I know there's a lot of victims. And I could probably be on for a marathon talking about all the victims. And that's why it is so important that we don't continue with this scraping the bottom of the barrel to put in people that can't even install themselves properly, and then not even admit to it, but then tampers with government documents and records to try to cover up their ineptness. That's Bill Hicks. He shouldn't be in the running to be appointed for anything. And the people of El Paso, very important city, need to be right there on the top to get the top of the barrel, not the bottom of the barrel. And there's plenty. There's plenty. Not Bill Hicks. Not for anything. For an appointment in the criminal. He needs to be arrested, y'all. And he's trying to run from scrutiny, from accountability. But he needs to be held accountable. So thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back on tomorrow, God willing. It's burning the midnight oil. It's so late. But tomorrow, I know I've been saying next day, but yeah, it's almost there. It's almost there. And we thank you so much. And we will be back tomorrow, God willing, and it's going to be